top of the world. We're on top of the world.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wow, that was so nice to watch.
That was so beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it's crazy to see where we started and where we are.
Yeah.
I'm a bit deflated today just because my video has been taken down. Apparently someone has requested that YouTube take it down because of a copyright, and so I'm a bit I don't even know. So episode 39, you won't find it. I don't know whether I'll actually rewatch it just because that's how I feel at the moment. But anyway, so in this episode, you know, I love that they ended with Ria and Jeff, because at the end of the day, Ria and Jeff embodied what this experiment is about. They are the living proof of married at first sight. Yes, they might not have been at first sight, but they went through the process. They were authentic, they were honest, they were open with their partner, and they are at I love you. Did I like the idea that they were prompted to say I love you? No, not really. No, not really. I don't think so. I think people should have allowed them to say that when they were good and ready and not prompted them to say it in front of everyone. But anyway, hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight Australia, Season 12, Episode 40. Oh my God, it's hard to believe that this is the end of season 12. Oh my God, I can't believe it. So you have everyone turn up for the commitment ceremony. I think the only people that didn't come was the two guys, Tim and the other husband, who knew that they'd behaved terribly. So I understand them not coming. Morena, I think, didn't want to be called out for her bad behavior, so she didn't rock up, although she did an interview and said they didn't treat me very well, so this is why I didn't present. And also Lauren, I think Lauren didn't like the idea that she was going to see two of her exes, and both of them having upgraded to younger people than her. So I think this is why she didn't come. Anyway, they show clips of, you know, the weddings, the reveals, and, you know, the excitement on everybody. And everyone is happy. They're laughing. They even show the bit about Ryan dropping Jackie. That was hilarious. Everybody was shocked. Jamie said she didn't expect it to be that bad. But anyway, it is what it is. And then they also showed the reveal for Rhi and Jeff, where they recognize one another. But with Karina and Paul, I'm surprised nobody questioned why they didn't say they knew each other on day one. But anyway, I guess we'll get into that later. So the experts decide, you know, to call out couples. I thought they were going to start out with Rhi and Jeff since they're the success story of the season, but they decided to start off with Dave and Jamie, and we got to see Dave and Jamie's journey, including, you know, his time with Veronica, and you could see the awkwardness. Everybody's backs were up because they showed Elliot, and Elliot, you could tell, was suspicious that something happened. I think this is what I think. I think this man, Dave, either had something to do, as I said before, I think he either got the ick because of Jamie's behavior during couples retreat when she fell out with Lauren. But my other money is on Veronica, because when they showed the clip, the guilt on Veronica's face, you could tell she felt bad. And I hope the experts call her out on that. I'm surprised that the experts didn't ask Dave that what happened with Veronica. Why was there so much guilt on both your faces? Nobody said anything. They just pretended like it was nothing, like it was any other day. And I don't get it. I think this is what I think. I think Dave wanted to be on TV. He wanted to be on TV, and he knew his best chance was being on a dating show, and he wanted to leave with a positive edit. So he came on Married at First Sight and played the good guy and was married to this woman, but then decided that he was going to play the good guy even though he didn't have any feelings for her, or whether he had feelings for her and he was turned off by whatever Veronica said or whatever Veronica did or whatever happened between him and Veronica. I think we'll never know. Jamie says, you know, she came into the experiment wanting to have a relationship with someone. She got to experience her time with Dave. Yes, she might not have got the happily ever after she wanted, but at the end of the day, she's learned a lot about herself. Dave says he's learned that he shuts down in relationships, so he's also learned that he needs to be open about his feelings at any given time. Do I buy that? No. I think Dave is after getting a positive edit. So he's going to say and do anything in order for him to get a positive edit. The least he should have done is apologize to Jamie. Yes, they spoke about the fact that when they went home after the filming ended, Jamie expected to see him, it sounds like, more often than she saw him. And he has no excuse for that. And he didn't give a reason as to why he didn't want to see her. And so I wish we had found out more as to what exactly switched him off. We have never got an answer for that. And whoever interviews him needs to ask him, what is it that made you check out of your relationship? Because you seem to be all in one day and then the next day you were all checked out and you'd moved on. So what is it exactly? Is it because he saw Veronica in a group and realized he liked her better than Jamie? Or is it Jamie gave him the ick, or he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to sort of have a confrontation with her because of how confrontational she can be when she's upset? What was it in particular that turned him off? So next up is Adrien and Afina. John is the one who calls them up, and he reveals that, watching them during the dinner party is a sort of summary of what their marriage was, because there were constant ups and downs. Their relationship was very tumultuous. You could never tell whether they were going to say yes or no. And so the experts want to understand what went wrong. You have Adrien talk about the comments that Sierra made, and he's saying, that really was the last straw for him, because he couldn't see himself coming back from that, because at the end of the day, that to him is the highest form of disrespect you can offer anyone. So he doesn't understand why, even if Afina was upset, she felt the need to say that. And then suddenly we get into a clip of Afina saying that, when Sierra left the experiment, she went and she was sending messages to Adrien, trying to get Adrien to come back with her as a couple. And then once they got home, Sierra apparently was sending very, very negative remarks about Afina to Adrien. And Adrien forwarded these remarks to Afina to show her what exactly was happening. And so there's this back and forth with Sierra trying to sort of vindicate herself or justify herself and explain herself. And it's like, this is not a good look. Sierra knows she got a negative edit, and now she's saying anything and everything. She's throwing mud at, Afina. She's already said she doesn't like Afina. So it's nothing new. So she's throwing mud to try and get herself from being painted as the bad guy, as someone who went after somebody else's husband, which is really sad, because at the end of the day, I think her edit was okay up until she started messing with Adrien. Had she stayed in her own lane and stayed in her marriage with Billy, she would have been in a happier space. The experts then drive it back to sort of, Afina and Adrien's marriage. They go from the start when they first saw one another, and all the way up until final vows. We get to see Adrien when he went to meet his second option and how he behaved. And you can see the looks of disapproval on everybody's face, because everybody can't understand how Adrien could say those things, given the fact that, he was in a relationship with somebody else and yet he was admiring somebody else. They also show the clip about the child and Adrien saying, he doesn't want to look up to somebody else's child. This is nothing new. This is something that he said from the start. And I wish they'd addressed it to the experts, but they chose to bury their heads in the sand and they chose to ignore it. And this is why they are where they are, because I think if they really were that serious about one another, or if Adrien, even Afina, if she was serious about being married to this man, they should have spoken to the experts. They shouldn't have ignored it. They should have spoken to the experts, worked hard to see how they could overcome that. And maybe they might have been in a better place at the end. Next up was Jackie and Ryan. Jackie and Ryan was going to be a dumpster fire, and I think everyone was ready for them to go because they knew it was about to be good. Because even when they were married, it was a dumpster fire, so let alone with the current situation. Anyway, they sit down and the experts sort of say to Ryan, we saw you yesterday. You were visibly upset with the current situation, with the revelation that, Jackie and Clint are dating. And Ryan said, my biggest thing is when I found out, or when I heard that they were together, I asked Jackie, I rang Jackie, and Jackie said, no, it's not true. No, it's not true. It's a lie. And then she said to me, I love you too much and I respect you too much to do anything like that. So for me to then come and see them like this is something that I didn't expect. And I think with Ryan, as he said, his biggest pet peeve or his biggest sort of gripe is the fact that these two people apparently were communicating during the experiment, because when Clint came in, it seems he changed numbers with a lot of people, Ryan included, and he was communicating with them. And Ryan knew that he had exchanged numbers with Jackie, but just assumed that they were doing that on a friendly basis. He didn't realize how deep the communication was going. And so for it to then come out that the two of them are dating is something that he didn't expect, and something that is devastating for him, because she wasted his time. She took him through the bushes and everywhere, sort of dragging him, knowing that she wasn't going to stay married to him. The least she could have done is she could have told him that, I don't see a future here. I'd rather we call things and we go our separate ways. And I said it yesterday when I said Jackie, I think, went back to this man because she didn't like the idea of him rejecting her. So she went back to him. That way she could be the one who rejected him. And so being in this situation where they are now, it's because Jackie wanted to be in a position to reject Ryan, and she got what she wanted. She rejected him and she was able to move on. Jackie on her part says, no, this is not the truth. With Clint, what happened is I was on my own for 2 weeks. I was crying. I was devastated that my marriage was broken, and Clint was consoling me. And Ryan said, no, that's not the truth, because at the end of the day, your words at final vows don't justify what you're saying, because what you said and what you did at final vows cannot be justified by what you're saying now. So Jackie is sort of trying to sort of dispute this and sort of stand her ground and say, no, that's not it. I was heartbroken. The experts decide to show the clips. You see all the clips, including Jackie writing a letter, the dossier she wrote sort of to call out Ryan's bad traits and everything. And for everyone else, they're taken aback because they also show the clip of Jackie being confronted by Jamie, and Jamie saying, the problem with Jackie is you have said certain things or you've done certain things that have upset your husband, including the letter he spoke about. And no, that's a lie, that's a lie. And it's like, oh my God, the producers decided to show it. They showed that, so many clips that just proved that Jackie was the problem. Yes, they showed the one at the husband's retreat where Ryan said the very defamatory comments. And Ryan instantly sort of said, I feel bad, I feel terrible, I feel disrespectful because this is not me. And so they get to the end of the clip and there's this back and forth with Jackie saying, she tried very hard to help Ryan, but Ryan wasn't there for the right reasons. He wasn't ready to be married. And John asks Ryan, how do you feel about all this? And Ryan said, I came in and I've learned that I need to soften up. I need to sort of lean into my feminine side. I need to be more sort of considerate of the things that I say and do, the words that come out of my mouth, the actions that I present. And so that was nice that at least he's grown. For Jackie hasn't grown. Jackie still feels like she's the bee's knees. She feels like, at the end of the day, Ryan is the problem in their relationship. She's not the problem. He is the problem because he didn't listen or he didn't do the things that she wanted him to do, which is really sad. So you have Billy ask Clint, after watching this clip of Jackie, how do you feel? And Clint says, I've even fallen more in love with her. I think this is my thought. I think Clint likes the idea that he's with a younger model. I think he likes the idea that, Jackie is very ditzy and sort of childlike. And so, he gets to fulfill that. He gets to be her warrior. But at the same time, this is not it. I don't think this is the relationship for Clint. I wish he had left the experiment, gone back home, sort of regrouped and asked himself, what do I want from a relationship? You could see that he was taken aback when Ryan said at the end of his final vows, when he was speaking to the camera and said, I feel sorry for the next guy she's going to date. He'd better be a multimillionaire or he had better be able to make millions a year, and he better be prepared to be manipulated by Jackie. And you could see it spinning in Clint's head. And sadly for Clint, unlike with Ryan at least has cameras, has footage to show what happened during their marriage. He will have nothing to back him up after Jackie's done with him, because they're going to be done soon, and she's just going to treat him as bad as she treated Ryan, if not worse. Next up is Paul and Karina. Paul and Karina, sadly, the moment Paul became the villain of the story, he lost all sort of ability to sort of say that he is a victim. Because the moment he was seen as the villain in this story, that was it. There was nothing he could say or do that would have changed that. And so they sit down and they get to watch their marriage. You can see the experts are ready for Paul because they feel some type of way about the comments that he made. My biggest takeaway from Paul and Karina is, at the end of the day, I think what Paul was trying to say was, they are both not perfect beings. They both made mistakes in their marriage. But sadly for him, because he's were more egregious, this is why people never forgave him. Because you can see the door that he punched, but you can't see the words that were said by Karina. You can't see the effect the words had on Cleo, because Cleo wasn't a part of the show. Yes, we saw Afina upset. We saw her, complain bitterly that how dare Karina say this about her sister. We saw Jamie complain bitterly about how dare Karina label her as a mean girl. But it doesn't sort of carry the same weight as Paul, having punched the door. It wasn't a good look for him. I think, as I said before, they should have left in week 3, or as soon as they realized that they were working, they should have left. Because even at the end of the day, when they were asked, I know John pulled Paul for his bad behaviors when Paul was trying to sort of put the blame on Karina. But I wish they'd held her to account as well, because he spoke about learning that he needed to do better. He needed to sort of have the ability to say no to certain things, the ability to take responsibility for his actions. But nobody called out Karina for what she said. And I think this was Paul's biggest problem, in the sense that they were both not perfect beings. But sadly, all the blame has been laid on him, and she has got away with whatever she did or said. Even when she was asked, what's your takeaway? She never once said, I'm sorry to the girls, even though they've forgiven her and they seem to have moved on. She never once said, my responsibility in this marriage is maybe I shouldn't have uttered this, or maybe I shouldn't have said this. Nothing like that. So for me, Paul and Karina is a bit of a difficult situation, because I always felt like Karina wasn't held to account as much as Paul was held to account. I wish they were both. The fact that you had John saying, yes, he punched the door, that is wrong, that is violence, that is unacceptable. But for them to then say you betrayed your partner, this is an experiment. I gave an example yesterday when I said Jackie, she went about and told her, somebody to give her her telephone number behind her husband's back, but the producers made sure that she told her partner. So whether or not Paul confided in someone and they revealed that this is what Karina had done, no one will ever know. At the end of the day, we can only just go by what we're saying. So to get him to take responsibility for that, I'm a bit, if he's going to take responsibility for repeating the words to Afina, then she has to take responsibility for saying the words. I wish this had been part of her closing, but then maybe I'm biased. So the episode ends with Rhi and Jeff. I loved Rhi and Jeff right from the moment they first met, or when they realized who they were marrying. So I love that they were able to see their journey. It seems they're still spending a lot of time together. It seems they enjoy one another's company. And this was their advantage, in the sense that they had been friends before they entered the experiment. So entering the experiment for them was just for them to cement their connection. Otherwise, they had all the tools that were necessary in order to have a long-lasting relationship. Yes, they worked hard. Yes, they were authentic. Yes, they were open. Yes, they were supportive of one another. So it was cute to see their journey and how much they laughed through the process. Yes, maturity in emotional intelligence must have played a part in it, but it was good to see their journey. It was good to see that they got their happy ever after. Most of the participants were happy for them. If you look at the clips of everyone, some of them were envious and unhappy, it seemed, but it is what it is. You can't all expect to have the same outcome, but I'm happy that they found each other and they were able to give each other a chance, and they are where they are. I wasn't happy when people were sort of encouraging them to say I love you, say I love you. I think they should have allowed them to say that at a special moment in private, or whether they wanted to do that in private. It seems they both knew they loved one another, but they were sort of afraid of saying it. And I think, having experienced how that backfired on someone like Jamie, this could have been why they were sort of withholding. But I'm happy they were able to get to a space whereby they were able to tell each other, I love you. They seem to be doing very well. And so I love this for them. I love this because at the end of the day, this is what Married at First Sight is all about. Meeting someone, were going through the process, and then eventually falling in love and starting a family. So their goal is to start traveling. I have a feeling by the end of the year, Jeff is going to propose, and most probably maybe next year they'll be legally married. And I love that for them because I think they were an amazing couple. So I love this for them. Anyway, it's been a great season. We've had a great time. I'm a bit deflated, as I said before, that my video is taken down. I will see whether or not to review it again. But I am where I am. What do I do? Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 38 since 39 has been taken down. Bye, guys.